here lying there, then it gets tighter and tighter
Yeah.
to allow for something else that I'm going to get to.
Okay.
So I really think that was very powerful, and to establish like how you had it set up with the sounds that of that moment, the movements of that moment, and that to me is the opening to repeat that throughout the play when you get to the transitions, you know, so that we don't lose the original the memory, and the audience gets it that this is part of the continuum. So if there's some type of a reprise of those original sounds in the moments when you make a transition in the scene, it really anchors and it gives it a thread that these women are all connected.
I'm sorry, so of the sounds that were heard in the beginning?
Yeah. Oh yes. In the beginning, when you have them making sounds and movements of, you know, going onto the ship,
Yeah.
and then you can reprise that, so you have a leitmotif that creates a thread throughout the whole piece, and it reminds the audience of the origins. And then that with other things that you do in workshop, and you said when you use like PowerPoint and images like that, which is very powerful, you have that. So like to say, if you flash to a modern day scene in Detroit, and those women, when they echo those original sounds, it's like you got it layered, right, and it's there. Another thing I like to do, which would be in conjunction with editing, is to edit the longer monologues, because I would like you to make room for at least 2 Rhode Island stories, because part of what we do here is to serve our local community so that their voices are there. And I'm just saying too, we don't need to like rewrite this play, make it a Rhode Island version. Keep what you got, but if you edit it, that creates space for 2 Rhode Island stories where people will recognize the references. If they say, you know, now I'm in Woonsocket or something like that. And that may be also something else that you want to do. I found it very powerful when we will go from time and place, and we'll say, I'm in Washington, D.C. I'm in Louisiana, or wherever, so that what it tells the audience is that this happens throughout the whole country. You know, we don't have to hit every state in the union. You know, but since I'm looking at what you already have, and then how to expand it and to deepen it. So if we add in 2 Rhode Island stories, and then we can work with focus with people to help us identify who or how we can make that happen. So you really have to bring you back to talk to some people, and then, you know, and see what we do there. Those are my artistic notes. That's it. I have written dramaturgical evaluation that went on for pages and pages. This was an easy one. So those are my artistic thoughts. So we can take a moment for you guys to respond. Anybody add anything to that? And then at the next part, and then after we do that, we can talk about the design of the overall project, you know, which expands the plays, like what comes out of the play, such as the healing space, and how do we get people to help, because there might be a person who's there who might be in crisis at that moment. What do? We can't say go home. We have to say, okay, come with me now. Absolutely. So anyway, I'm not going to get into those details, but I just want to say it's those types of things that I'm really more concerned with, you know, creating a research package. Karen talked about identifying who at the Brown Medical School that we can engage with, because what we did, we're looking at the heart-to-heart model here, and we were able to get what the med school granted 2 continuing medical education credits for anybody who was in the healthcare field.
In the physician?
Yeah,
it was just for physicians
to come in and,
if they saw the play, and answer the questionnaire that it's the governing body of Rhode Island, actually, that the licensing body of Rhode Island that granted these 2 medical education credits. So it was like a good housekeeping stamp of approval.
And then this will give us more exposure, and now we're talking about then looking at how to design a local tour so that the work doesn't just go up here on Brown's campus, but can get out into the state, to other areas that people wouldn't even know how to get to Brown. It's a small state, but it's big.
It's very regional.
Yes, yes. So we can deal with the artistic side of it, so those are my thoughts.
I have a question, actually. I love the time and transition and the movement, but my question was like, how do you envision, or what are you thinking about as far as, you used to come up dance and choreography? Yeah, and how does that fit within what's on the play, what you want to do? I mean, I'm just curious to see.
Around movement, you're saying?
Yeah, around movement, is that within the transitions, is that all, is it
Yeah.
dance that you play?
So the music is really throughout, and it really depends on what the piece is. And before I say that, I do want to say that the conversation that we had last night about the chronological order sparked something as I was processing last night, that in original iterations, it was chronological. And we chronicled this through music, through video, through pictures. And so I was thinking last night that could be something that needs to be revisited, because as we pared down so much. Yeah, and I don't think anything was really lost, but we've also been doing excerpts. This is the first time we've seen the entire show since it was performed in Asheville by another theater. So we've been chopping up and doing excerpts for conferences and things like that, and then I speak on what they perform. So you have your pods?
Let's do it.
Okay.
Let it alone.
Okay. Okay. So I'm thinking returning to that chronological piece, because it is a journey. Like initially it was from the slave ship to today, and we did that through the music and this and that. So I think we need to return to that, especially if we're going to incorporate people from Rhode Island using their stories. Then that would be a part of the journey.
And to address your movement question,
Yeah.
yes, we really, especially the last director that we had, she really incorporated, she's a dancer and choreographer and director, so some days it was only about movement.
Yeah.
It was only about, even within the ritual, she had us each go through our own process to come up really with our own rituals of expression, and that we incorporated into each piece. Sometimes it's within the piece, and sometimes other actors may echo the movement of other actors. So your ritual may be one specific movement, another actor's is another movement, and then we incorporate and she echoes that.
And every scene is choreographed. There's movement. There's no static.
There's no static.
No, every scene was choreographed.
Yeah.
It's a choreography.
It's a choreography. She comes from a choreographed background.
So the whole thing of when you get to In Praise of the Witch, even we each so specifically, Earth, as soon as we came into those elements, everyone had their own specific movement. And when you spoke, you did not. And then you may take on the movement of another actor so it definitely was a part of it in transition. And then it was actually a part of the performance, the performance itself.
Even just a little bit of movement that they did with just moving the music stands around was nice. I know some Mo hasn't put the music stands on wheels and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
But because of stage reading, but I just like, that was pretty nice.
Yeah, because it is it's we say it's a choreo drama, taking it out of sort of a choreo poem. We combine those elements of music and dance and movement and song, because we even had song in the a cappella.
And even in Transmogrified, in the piece, the gender non-conforming piece is choreographed, and so there's music that goes to that, and each character had their own moment. And so we gave. Is it original music? No, it's not. It's
Which we need to do.
yeah, we need that because that's it's current music. So
It's both, you're trying to say. So like, you're gonna anchor time periods through the sound of that.
Yeah.
But then there are moments like with the transition, you need original music.
Yes.
So we put on our end already, we need to add to the team a choreographer and a composer, music director.
Yes.
And we have access to those people.
It could be a really great opportunity too. I mean, I don't know in terms of copyright, in terms of using other people's music, I mean, whatever that looks like.
Yeah.
But to devise some sort of soundscape for each sort of
Yeah.
time period that we're living in.
Yeah, and that
Because I
could be
forget
really.
how many times we're talking about better than you, there's X amount of notes that you can play without. having-
Right.
There are
Certain-
well, I
yeah,
know in
certain
film and television, there's X amount of time.
Yeah.
Although some people say it's still a film or
my movie.
Yeah.
Kendrick and it's a man.
You should just call him up and be like,
Well, that's what her daughter's the director of photography, so she was like, maybe you can reach out to him and see if.
yeah, I'm sure he'd be
Really
really
good.
good.
Yeah, I just have other people that I work with.
So, okay, we did,
I love the choreographer
Yeah.
and music person. That's phenomenal.
great question.
I also wanted to add too, just if we're still on the artistic page, that I see so much amazing versatility in terms of costuming and what a set could look like, right? Like literally a costume that could transform into like a robe, but also a dress, but also like these, because
Yes.
the characters are shapeshifters, right?
Yeah.
So if you had like a garb that transformed, because there are moments where they're playing these very, masculine characters, and a robe looks quite different than like the dress of a young girl.
Yeah.
Right? So there's just so many. Like if we had a costume person and
We do
a
have
set designer.
We have a resident costume designer.
Yeah.
So we act, so she got choreographer, music person, costume.
Who's Lisa, right?
Yeah. And Alonzo has set.
Yeah.
So we know that that's part of the next level of development,
Yeah.
and as we go towards it.
Right.
We
Well,
can make all this happen for the next time, we can get a lot of it in there.
Right.
And then we go, because we gotta raise money to do
Right.
that biggie.
Absolutely.
But yeah,
Mhm.
but I love the idea, because that's how it works, in terms of
Yeah.
how your characters through costume can
Yeah,
transform.
yeah,
It's
absolutely.
very Barbara M.G. or National Theater,
Yeah.
type of, but I get what you get, so even
Yeah.
the basic costume, let's say top and even loose, flowing pants. If you have a large cloth, it's a skirt,
It can be anything.
it can be
Yeah.
a shawl, it
Right.
can go on the head.
Right.
Yeah.
You can use it to
Yeah.
do something.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And even for the, even for the, okay, even for the, with the next sort of iteration, just even minimal things that can be added.
Yes.
As he said, because we don't have the funds right now to do the
Right.
big thing,
Right.
but even conversations about what people can bring that
Right.
would, that they could use.
Yeah, I think just like dreaming big about a vision
Yes.
is so important.
Yeah,
Like, if you had a set that transformed from it was so versatile that it could be both this sort of abstracted slave ship, but it could also be Louisiana, it could also be a plantation, it could also be a witch's cauldron. I mean, it could be anything, right? So if we try to dream of like that, that's what I'm saying. It's like even before we build it, it's like how do we, as sort of the question I asked you at lunch yesterday, like if you had your dream of what this looked like.
Yeah.
Because I think there's ways, especially if it's gonna travel, that we could build or envision something that was malleable, that could sort of move with us as we bring it to different places, but is also expansive once it sort of opens up and it's both in costume and in whatever a set would look like.
I love the changeability, like the slave ship, and then what happens in the house, and then the beauty salon. It's like very specific.
Yeah.
Right, and pieces that could move, that you may
Yeah.
1 minute be sitting on it, and the
Right,
next minute
right.
it's used for something else,
Right,
and the
right,
next
right.
minute, yeah.
Yeah.
And I think for us too, with the transitions and working together as a group, it's a collective. The
Yeah.
community of women are a collective. So for us, there's not ever a woman that's just not part of the scene.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
You're always, if you're on
Right.
stage and you never leave the stage, then they're always part of the scene. And I feel that same way about the costuming, the same way about what you're
Yes.
saying about the set.
Yes.
It's always a part, it's never a piece that's not
Right,
utilized for
right.
something or transformed into something else.
And that's so clear in the script. I mean, I was resisting impulses to do more movement because we just didn't have time. But
Yes.
it was the,
Yeah, we agree with that.
during Tio Tony's speech, you know, he's talking about his family tree and just like this vision of like the other women becoming this like branched body to which he was sort of mapping his own story of abuse or, you know, his own recovery onto that family and lineage. I mean, just like so many visions were coming to mind as I was reading the script. And there's so much beautiful like imagery already.
And what you could do with light
Yes.
while he